How did a single man, in a fractured desert society, spark a movement that dismantled the two greatest superpowers on Earth in less than 30 years? From the caves of Makkah to the peaks of the Pyrenees, from the invention of the algorithm to the fall of Constantinople, we are stripping away the myths and the modern politics to look at the raw, verified historical record. 14 centuries, 6 major empires, 1 complete timeline. This is the story of the architects of history. Welcome to the era of Islam. 6th century Arabia, a land sandwiched between two titans, the Byzantine Empire to the west and the Sassanid Persian Empire to the east. While these superpowers waged endless wars, the Arabian Peninsula was a fragmented mosaic of tribes. It was the era of Jahiliyyah, the age of ignorance. Society was governed by tribal loyalty, blood feuds could last decades, women had few rights, and female infanticide was a grim reality. Yet, within this chaos lay a deep appreciation for language. Poetry was the supreme art form, capable of starting wars or forging peace. In 610 CE, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him, a 40-year-old merchant known as Al-Amin, the Trustworthy, sought solitude in the cave of Hijrah. He was disturbed by the moral decay of his society. Here, the course of human history pivoted. The Archangel Gabriel appeared with a single imperative. Iqra, read. The message was radical, yet simple. Tawhid, the absolute oneness of God. It directly challenged the economic and social hierarchy of the Quraysh tribe, who profited from the pilgrimage to the 360 idols in the Kaaba. After 13 years of persecution, boycotts, torture, and assassination attempts, the Prophet and his followers migrated to Yathrib. This is the Hijrah, marking year 0 of the Islamic calendar. Yathrib became Madinah Anabaith, the city of the Prophet. Here, Muhammad, peace be upon him, proved himself not just a spiritual guide, but a statesman. He drafted the constitution of Madinah Sahifa, a pluralistic social contract that guaranteed the rights of Muslims, Jews, and pagans, establishing a unified defense pact. Survival required defense. 624 CE Badr, 313 ill-equipped Muslims defeated a Quraysh army 3 times their size, a shock to the Arabian status quo. 625 CE Uhud, a tactical defeat taught the Muslims the cost of indiscipline. 627 CE, the Trench Khandak, a siege of Madinah. Following the advice of Salman the Persian, the Muslims dug a massive trench, a tactic unknown in Arab warfare, neutralizing the enemy cavalry. But the greatest victory was diplomatic. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah, 628 CE, appeared weak to some, but it secured a 10-year truce, allowing the message of Islam to spread without the noise of war. In 630 CE, following a breach of the treaty by Quraysh, the Prophet marched on Makkah with 10,000 men. The city surrendered. In a moment of supreme historical mercy, he granted general amnesty to his former tormentors. In 632 CE, shortly before his death, he delivered his farewell sermon, declaring the sanctity of life and property, and abolishing racial superiority. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab except by piety. The death of the Prophet sparked a crisis. Who would lead? The community elected Abu Bakr as-Siddiq,
632 to 634.
His tenure was short but critical. He unified the fracturing tribes in the Rida Wars, preserving the state's integrity. Next came Umar ibn al-Khattab, 634 to 644, the architect of the Islamic Empire. Under his rule, the two superpowers crumbled. The Muslims took Damascus, Jerusalem, and the Sassanid capital to Umar was a genius of administration. He established the Diwan bureaucracy, garrisoned cities Amsir, like Basra and Kufa, and a welfare system. He walked into Jerusalem not as a conqueror on a charger, but on foot, signing a pact guaranteeing the safety of Christian churches. Uthman ibn Affan, 644 to 656. He standardized the Quran into a single dialect, preserving the text we have today. However, rapid expansion brought internal tensions, leading to his assassination, a tragic turning point. Ali ibn Abi Talib, 656 to 661, the Prophet's cousin and son-in-law, faced the brunt of this civil strife. Fitna, despite his wisdom and bravery, the empire was fracturing. His assassination in Kufa marked the end of the Rashidun era. The age of elective piety was giving way to dynastic rule. Muawiyah I established the Umayyad Caliphate, 661 to 750. The capital moved to Damascus. This was an Arab kingdom, heavily influenced by Byzantine administration. They expanded the map further than ever before, west to Spain, Al-Andalus, and east to the Indus River in modern Pakistan. While politically dominant, they faced criticism for favoring Arabs over non-Arab Muslims. This discontent would lead to their downfall. In 750 CE, a revolution brought the Abbasids to power. They moved the capital to Baghdad, a newly built city that became the intellectual center of the world. This was the Islamic Golden Age. While Europe slumbered in the Dark Ages, the Beit al-Hikmah House of Wisdom in Baghdad preserved the works of Aristotle, Plato, and Galen. But they didn't just translate. They innovated. Al-Khwarizmi fathered algebra. Avicenna Avicenna wrote the canon of medicine, the standard medical text in Europe for centuries. Hatham founded modern optics and the scientific method. In the 10th century, the Fatimid Caliphate rose in North Africa. As Ismaili Shias, they challenged the Sunni Abbasids. They founded Cairo and established Al-Azhar, one of the world's oldest universities. By the 11th century, the political fragmentation of the Muslim world invited the Crusaders. They took Jerusalem in 1099, establishing Latin kingdoms. Response came from the Ayyubids, led by the Kurdish general Salah ad-Din Saladin. In 1187, at the Battle of Hattin, he crushed the Crusader armies and retook Jerusalem, famously sparing its inhabitants. In stark contrast to the massacre committed by Crusaders 88 years prior, in 1258, a catastrophe struck. The Mongols, led by Hulagu Khan, sacked Baghdad. The Caliph was rolled in a carpet and trampled. The House of Wisdom was destroyed. It seemed the end of Islamic civilization. But the tide turned. The Mamluks of Egypt, a warrior caste of former slave soldiers, defeated the Mongols at the Battle of Ain Jalut, 1260. They saved the Muslim world from total annihilation and ruled Egypt and Syria with an iron fist and architectural grandeur for centuries. From the ashes of the Mongol invasion, 3 massive empires emerged, utilizing a new technology to consolidate power: gunpowder. The Ottoman Empire began as a small Anatolian beylik. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II the Conqueror achieved the impossible, capturing Constantinople, ending the Byzantine Empire. Under Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottomans ruled the Mediterranean, North Africa, and Eastern Europe. Their legal code canon was sophisticated, and their architect Mimar Sinan built masterpieces like the Suleimani Mosque. They were the caliphs of the Islamic world for 4 centuries. In Persia, the Safavids 1501 to 1736 established a distinct identity. Shah Ismail declared 1200 Shi'ism the state religion, permanently shaping the demographic map of the Middle East. Under Shah Abbas, their capital, Isfahan, became a jewel of art, architecture, and philosophy. Famously known as Isfahan is half the world. In India, a descendant of Tamerlane and Genghis Khan named Babur founded the Mughal Empire 1526 to 1857. Akbar the Great created a centralized administration and promoted religious tolerance. His grandson, Shah Jahan, built the Taj Mahal, the zenith of Indo-Islamic architecture. Aurangzeb expanded the empire to its greatest extent, covering nearly the entire subcontinent, comprising 25% of the world's GDP at the time. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the balance of power shifted. Internal stagnation, failure to industrialize, and the rise of European colonialism eroded these empires. The Mughals fell to the British, the Safavids collapsed into civil war. The Ottomans, the sick man of Europe, held on until World War I. In 1924, the Caliphate was officially abolished, ending the last major continuous political institution of Islam. From a cave in Makkah to empires that spanned 3 continents, the history of Islam is not just a chronicle of conquests, but of civilization. It gave the world algebra, the hospital, universities, and architectural wonders. Today, nearly 2 billion people carry this Lagutia history of faith, resilience, and an enduring quest for knowledge. We have journeyed through 14 centuries from the sands of the desert to the spires of Istanbul. But this timeline is merely the skeleton of history, the heartbeats in the details, the strategies of Khalid ibn al-Walid that humbled empires, the ink of the scholars in Baghdad that lit the world, the unspoken tragedies of the fall of Granada. Do not let your knowledge end here. If you seek to understand not just what happened, but why, if you wish to walk the streets of Cordoba and stand on the walls of Jerusalem with us, then subscribe and turn on notifications. Join us in the next chapter where we will dismantle the myths and reconstruct the truth. History is waiting. Will you answer the call?